Doing a time lapse over the build I'd recently done. During the build, I did not have my mic switched in, so I'm now pretty much doing a voiceover over the whole video, which is in a 400% speed up of 2 hours. So this video is going to last about 30 minutes with me talking over it. And you can hear that I'm talking in the corner, but you won't be able to hear me in the video because I'm an idiot and I didn't put my mic in. So right now we are going to start the creation of the Halo Warthog. I'm currently planning out what I'm doing. I'm talking. You can see on the screen at the moment I've literally just put a base down with the first seat in it because I didn't know where to begin with this. I really did not. So I thought, you know what, let's just put some seats down and then work from there. That's pretty much what I did. I'm now going to put in the passenger seat, which I think I do move one over because it wasn't level down the middle. Yeah, because eventually I had two blocks running down the centre between the two chairs instead of one, just so everything was more even. I'm just going to take a sip of drink right now because my throat is pretty dry. So I am pretty much looking at my phone and looking at the screen. I had to do some changes there in the recording. I don't know, I forgot what it was, but it was something. I actually ran out of metal. Yeah, look, that's my new fence. So I've coloured in the fence. That's what I was talking about there. And I had a friend, a snail, up on the hut, but I don't know where he went. I found him in the sea. This yellow snail creature. You should go check that out if you haven't already. Now I've got these windows here, but in the end I got two of them built. Yeah, so this is where I've now moved the seat over to make it more even, because these windows, it looked odd. If it would have looked odd if they weren't aligned properly. So there's a second one. Now I thought this thing was going to look hideous with that because I imagined the windows being higher up, but I just wanted to make sure everything was leveled before I placed them there. And then that was me showing off the blocks I have, which look kind of Forerunner. I said that during the whole video how cool they were looking. But I was not prepared for this build at all. I thought I was. Look all the blocks I have in my inventory there. That's all I had. And I thought that'd be enough. That's a lot of blocks. It was not. I went through 200 or nearly 300 blocks of wood in the end, which I will replace with metal when the time comes. As I mentioned at the end of the video, how I would now and then replace something or add something to the Warthog as time went on, and I will show you guys that the difference in each episode of Scrap Mechanic, if there is anything different with it. But I'll be honest, this bugged me a lot. I placed this video into my obviously editing software, Lightworks, and I wondered to myself, why is there no sound? I looked down at the mic, I hadn't plugged it in. It's a long story why my mic isn't plugged in though all the time. Right, so I'm pretty much trying to place the window exactly where I want it to be. I'm looking at the different glass because I figured that if I place some glass underneath it to add a bit more to it. And how in the image, like the window was a little bit lower than what it was, but I needed to work with what I had, right? And then my failed attempt of trying to get that window beside it, which actually fell down at one point by my mistake. I thought it was attached to the other side of the window. It wasn't. It just fell down. So I had to do that whole thing again. And then yeah, I've placed a bit of window there, or glass. So it's fully attached. Windows are on. It looks hideous, I know, but just wait there until this build is finished, because you'll be quite surprised. There are some resemblance of it with the Halo Warthog. Now, I was looking at the Halo 5 Warthog whilst doing this, because it has like more up-to-date detail. Even though I can't put in that detail, it was something for me to look at. Because let's be honest, looking at the Halo 1, even though it's a good classic, the Halo 1 Warthog is not as good as the Halo 5. When it comes to looks, that is. Oh, and you'll see how this thing handles like a dream when it comes to it. I did go out at one point and do some foraging for some more scrap, so I may actually take that out of the video. Yeah, I'll take that out. I had to go out and get some more scrap because I wanted to build the weld gun. That weld gun came so much in handy during this build. This game does give you some cool tools to use whilst doing builds, and even like all the mechanics in the build. You guys should go check out what other people have been making on Scrap Mechanic. It's worth a look, all the different designs people have come up with. But my mental state on this went like it took me 2 hours, and I can't really explain how I felt trying to get this build done in time for the vlog, or not vlog, but next upload. I know it might be a little bit late by the time it's all done, but I was not getting this done by 8 o'clock, and it was stressing me out. So I've put in the windows, I've put in some frame at the top. I'm now pretty much got some woodwork going on the sides there. So this is the point where I give up on the metal. I'd run out of metal. I know you see in my inventory right now there's some metal, but I want to use that for the outskirts to make it look pretty. Which it does, and I think I'll use that metal for the rest of it. Though I'm hoping when I do, I have enough engine power fully upgraded to keep moving the car. Like half of the engine power is being used in the end, with just as it is in the end. So yeah, I hope, or I'll just have like 2 engines on the car. I don't know if that would work, but I can always give it a go. This is my attempt of trying to make it a split mirror image down the middle. It doesn't look that bad at the moment. If you look at the window, there's some resemblance already, if I'm being honest. So I'm now trying to figure out the boot, or like the trunk, where there'd be a Gatling gun. Now I don't know what to put in the trunk or the boot of the Warthog. I can easily put a Gatling gun there. I know you can make them in the game. I need to find a Gatling gun because you can't make it, unless you can at some point, and then ammo for another, and then going back to this build. It won't be annoying. I mean, it'd be kind of cool. Like, it may be something I'd do, but before the Gatling gun, I might just have it as storage in the back there, and I might put some frame in, like it has on the game for the people carrier Warthog, where you can like carry 4 or 6 troops in the back. That Warthog can be possible, very easily possible. But again, I don't know why we can't create the guns at the minute in the workshop. Slowly, piece by piece, coming together. Now I've gone back. I got fed up with walking back and forth to my storage, so I figured I'd just place everything on me. I didn't know why I didn't do that in the beginning. Now, to work out how the tyres would look, I place it there to see how big the tyre is compared to the frame. Now, I've made a big mistake here, and I'll tell you what the mistake is when I just figured it out in game. Until then, I'll let you guys guess what the mistake is, because there's something awfully wrong with this Warthog right now when you see it. Hopefully you guys figure it out by the time I tell you, because it's very obvious. If anyone is very familiar with Halo, this Warthog at the back end is very wrong at the moment. And when I found out, it completely bugged me as to when I went out and tried to find scrap for the weld gun, because it helped me out a lot trying to fix what I'd done, really. Fix what I'd made. Now I'm trying to work out the suspension and the works of the wheels. See, I've gone higher up there, but then I do find out that it's too high, and where it was okay, because the tyre's not going to fit. So in the end, I bring it down by all the way. Now you can't, with the bearings, you cannot for some reason place your suspension straight onto the bearing. It has to have something there. It has to be a bearing and then like a block of something and then the suspension. I don't know why. But in the end, I do, yeah, pretty much. I just place it at the bottom of the beam on the trunk. Now, another thing I didn't realise is with the thing in the middle that goes up and down, that yeah, I can't think of it right now. That thing I just deleted. You don't need to look at it to operate it up and down on the keypad. I didn't realise that until like recently. That's a cool feature. That's something else I do enjoy about the game. The devs did do a good job making this. I have to give them a round of applause for that, because this game, the mechanics of it is actually quite brilliant, and it is very enjoyable. But I've worked out the back end, and I think now I realised what the mistake was that I made. Or have I? I think I did. This is when I went back on my phone. Anyway, I'll tell you. I'd made the boot too high up. It should be in level or just below the steering wheel, but if you look at the wheels at the back, they're too high up compared to the rest of the frame. And then there'll be a better look in a minute. But yeah, putting the glass up on the front. That other glass is alright. It does the job. It's completely see-through to a certain point, but in the end it does look good. It does look good. So I'm working on the front here now, again using the wood. I started off with 200 blocks. I'm now down to 20 or 10 now. I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time farming for 200 metal pieces, especially grade 3 metal pieces. The one that looked good on the car, or Warthog. But you look at the boot now, it is way too high up compared to the rest of the build. I still don't think I realised it. I must have realised by now it was too high up, because I just put the wheel arch at the front, or what is going to be an attempt of a wheel arch. And look at the boot. Look how high up that boot is. Look how high up that is. Yeah, I've just realised, I just deleted them, and it proper bugged me out, because I was ready to give up just around then. Oh, I'd got the weld gun already. Okay, so I must have paused the screen whilst I went out and scavenged for some scrap. Okay, yeah, because now the boot is level. Okay, so that's good. That saves me a bit of editing. I'm happy for that. Right, I do have a brain. Okay, so after that, I went straight in to sort out the front tyres of the build. It's still looking quite like a skeleton at the minute, but it does come out a lot. You can see there's groundwork being made here. This Halo 5 Warthog is gonna look good at the end, and it's an epic fail, believe me. Though I think it was a good attempt. It was a very good attempt at this. What does bug me more is I have not got the software to get rid of my little face in that corner whilst I work here right now. Oh. Don't ask me again how I managed to chatter away for 2 hours. My voice was not alright at the end. Right, so for some reason, yeah, it didn't work, so I just put it up there. I had to lift the car up a little bit. I took it off, so I had to place it back on. Then reattach that last wheel. And then I noticed something else. They weren't actually in line. The front two wheels were slightly wider placed than the ones at the back. So the welding gun again came in handy. I don't know what I was doing here. Did I go out and get some water? I don't know. Oh, I went to go and protect my farms, my plots, but they'd already been destroyed, as I just realised. Ah, so I'm placing down... There you go, I'm making it look pretty now. That does look good. I think I should have kept it silver, I'm not gonna lie. That does look really good. But again, I only had so much of that stuff on me, and I could only put so much on one side to make it even on the other. But it does look good, it does look good. It's coming together quite slowly now. That front needs a major rework though, at the moment. I don't know if I'd realised it yet that I'd placed the wheels. Unless I already moved it, I didn't see the screen. I mean, I'm looking at the screen, but I'm taking sips out of my drink. I think this is where I realised, or when I put the lights on. So there's 3 lights on one side, but they're odd. They're on one side. They're not level with the car, as so the photo stated of the Warthog. And then I go to work on the back here. See, it's coming along quite nicely. I actually, even though it took me a long time, and it was a big grind for me, the build itself in the end was it was good. It was good. It wasn't all that bad. It just took a very long time. I've never been sat in my seat for so long doing one thing, which took a big strain to my mental thought. It really did. I did ponder a lot. I would say I'm just over halfway done with the vehicle, or more at least. At some point I start to attach everything to the driver's seat and start to see how it turns and everything like that, and then I put the engine in the back, of course. Yeah. I would have been more happy if I was able to put the engine in the front. I could still do that, but whether it's easy access to change its settings, I don't know. But I probably will put the engine in the front. At the minute, it is in the back, and you guys will see that in a minute. So I'm still trying to figure out the front here, and at some point I do play with some suspension. Yeah, so I've gone to make some suspension, sport suspension, and I wanted to mess about with the front of it, because in the picture there's like suspension going inwards as well, but not like normal suspension would do, and there's a lot missing in the front. So I wanted to fill in like the space, and I thought, well, why don't I try and put some suspension pointing inwards? And then I realised it doesn't work because it's all attached, and so that was a waste of time. That was a real big waste of time. It looked good though. It's a shame it didn't work. Yeah, I first attached it like that, but then I realised, you know what, that is not really going to turn. And I realised that when I attached it to the driver's seat. So in the end, I pretty much had them facing each other, attached. I don't know what came with me to think that this would work. Really does upset me that it doesn't though. Because it does look kind of cool at the front. Look at that. That looks kind of cool. But it's not going to turn, is it? So that's when I took that out, and I figured that does turn a little bit, but it's not as good. Look at my back wheels all spazzing out because they're not attached to the driver's seat, so they're not going to be in line. But they are now. And this will now have some fun. So I think at this point I do put an engine in there. Or I should do. So engine's now going in. This is when I realised how heavy this is. Well, I've got loads of those components to upgrade and stuff at the minute. That's what you get when you go out adventure quite a lot. I've done a lot of scavenging around. Believe it or not, this thing is tippable. It will tip over. I have not made a vehicle that does not want to tip over yet. Or hasn't, believe it or not. Though I stiffened the suspension in the end, and it made it quite a more enjoyable ride for the passenger or the driver if it were to be in real life. So there is some speed to the vehicle. There's some good speed. I don't know what came with me to think full speed would be okay. I was trying to go forward, but it was going backwards. Look at that. Just tipped over. And that was very fast. That was too fast. And again, yeah. It handles like a dream, believe it. But that wasn't working. And then the handling sort of helped it a little bit with that being out. So it was a little bit better. Tried to turn it into the entrance there. Wasn't going to work. This is me filling out the front around the suspension, trying to make it a bit less naked. So this is when I decided to fill in the front a little bit more, because in the picture there's more depth to the vehicle at the front. Now the back end, I have left that quite bare because I plan to put some chests at the back, on the bottom and the top, and then at the bottom have some sort of lever that comes down and up, or something that opens up to get to the chest or chests. So I'll do that. But yeah, it's the handling, as you see, is getting slightly better, but then I tip it there. Yeah. And then this guy decided that he wanted a piece of my fence. I was like, okay, you can have a piece of my fence. Do you know what? I made a little graveyard. I knocked him into the ditch. I've got 2 heads down there at the minute. Them things take too long to refine. It's annoying. It's not annoying, it's time consuming, and that's where the grind comes in the game. The real grind is grinding for scrap metal. Believe it or not. There's 2 hooks on the front of the vehicle, that's what I'm trying to implement there. And then there is some railings around the front end as well. So I'm coming near to the end of this build, believe it or not. Trust me, a liquor of paint will do this a world of good. And I did find out that the paint, repainting the headlights or any light, does change the colour of the light. So if any of you have got a light out there that isn't the colour you want it, repaint it. It works. So a little bit of detail here and there is going to make this Warthog come to life a little bit. Yeah, I thought they were a bit too small, that the railings there needed to be a bit bigger going around the front end. Now, so I've gone to make some more pipes. I made a switch as well. That switch is to connect to my headlights, to then connect to the seat. Upgraded the seats a couple of times to make them look better. Each upgrade makes an item look better than, or it changes the appearance. That's another good thing about the game, is how things will change appearance each time you upgrade them. So you can now see, guys, from the beginning of this build to the end, it's looking a lot like an epic fail. It honestly is. It's not great. It's my first video build like this. It's my first proper try to recreate anything build, and completed it. I think the next build should be UNSC Forward Until Dawn. That would be interesting. Or any spaceship, to be honest with you. I mean, just put a few jets on the bottom, make it hover. That's a thing in the game as well. So it is possible. I think later on in episodes I should get that done. That'll be on my bucket list. But this is when I start to put a liquor of paint, and now this thing slowly does come alive. It really does. Though I kept running out of paint, and it really did bug me. Again, I think I paused the video to get paint. I hope I did. That saves me the edit. Now, I've got 1 capsule of paint left. Now the way the paint works is, if you used to drag and go over an object once, it will use it individually. But if you used to highlight a whole bunch of like bricks, I think it only works on the bricks anyway. If you used to highlight a bunch of bricks to the maximum highlight capacity, it will only use 1 paint capsule. If you used to individually paint each block, it's gonna individually use paint capsules. That's something to note there, okay? That's something I found out. Now this thing here, it's done. I'm going around, I'm talking about it. It is pretty much finished. Look at that. Some similarities there, but I honestly think I could have done better. I could have done better. I could have done much better with this build, but again, time just got ahead of me. Yeah, I missed a few paints there. All in all, job done.